This is Viewpoint.
Welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Doug Petcash. Memorial Day has come and gone. It's the unofficial start of summer and the start of the summer travel season. The kids are out of school and it's time to go somewhere. Were you one of the millions who hit the road or took to the skies over the holiday weekend? As the pandemic restrictions and fears fade into memory, more and more people are getting away from it all. Numbers are expected to be way up over last year. Heading into the Memorial Day weekend, AAA estimated 42.3 million Americans would travel by car or plane 50 miles or more from home. 2.7 million more than 2022, a 7% increase. After the four-day weekend, the Transportation Security Administration did in fact report record travel screenings at the nation's airports. The TSA said nearly 9.8 million people went through checkpoints. That's up by 300,000 compared to the Memorial Day holiday in 2019. The TSA said the screening volume on the Friday before Memorial Day alone was about 2.7 million. That's the highest post-pandemic single-day record. So what does all this mean going forward for the rest of the summer? What's the travel outlook? What are some of the issues flying travelers might encounter? And when's the best time to book and where should you consider going? My guest today is Stuart Gustafson, who has the registered trademark America's International Travel Expert. He lives here in Boise and is a travel writer and speaker as well as an independent travel agent. Gustafson says he has been to 62 countries and 170 different cruise ports. He has also given more than 100 presentations on cruise ships, and he is the author of 15 fiction and nonfiction books. So getting out and about is our focus today as we look at traveling in the summer of 2023 with my guest, Stuart Gustafson. Stuart, thank you for being here today. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I'm glad you're not out and about somewhere around the world.
Not right now.
Right here in Boise for a little while. All right, so in general, what is the outlook for the summer travel season?
It's busy. Definitely busy, as we just heard from the Memorial Day weekend report, and also more expensive. 2019 was a good travel year, and we didn't think much about it back at that time because we were not expecting the pandemic that slowed us all down in 2021 and 2022, or 2019, 20, and 21. So travel picked up last year in 22. I was part of that. I got out there and did some travel. It's going to be busier this year. People are tired of staying at home. They want to get out.
I was going to say that's that cabin fever effect, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I've been stuck here and I want to go. It's also more expensive, and not just inflation, a lot more expensive.
What is driving up the costs?
You can say typical inflation, but it's also the fact that with the pandemic, many travel-related businesses shut down, cut back. Rental cars were non-existent because people weren't traveling, people weren't renting cars. They sold off the cars. So the infrastructure is not there, and you just can't build it overnight. Kind of like you can't build a skyscraper overnight. It can come down in a minute, but it takes a year to go back up. Yeah,
one of the big things, earlier this year was, seeing a lot of reporting on the national networks about airlines trying to gear up, get more pilots, get more flight attendants and other staffers. Are they catching up?
Slowly, but you're right, it does take a long time. It's like, oh, I need a pilot. Hey, Doug, why don't you come fly this plane? Yeah, piece of cake, right?
Yeah, right.
But industry numbers right now are saying 75 to 80% of all airline seats, especially to Europe, long gone. They're sold. There are fewer planes, maybe some bigger ones, but there's fewer planes, fewer seats. They're full. Don't expect a deal if you can even get a flight.
Don't expect a deal.
Don't expect a deal.
Wow. All right. Well, we've reported also the possibility of strikes by pilots, also flight attendants, and, just this week reporting on a shortage of air traffic controllers. Are these things that a traveler should worry about?
No. First of all, you can't do anything about it. If it happens, it happens. It did just happen in Europe. Their worker unions have a lot more power in Europe. It's not uncommon when I'd be in Paris to turn a corner and see a a parade of workers walking down with signs. In the U.S., you've got the Department of Transportation, a lot of lobbying groups. They know that air travel, which is the primary form of travel in the U.S. There's a few trains, but not a lot. It's mostly air travel. They know the ripple down effect that that has. And so while the airlines are trying to ramp up with pilots, with flight attendants, with baggage, everything, we're at a limited quantity.
Now, you mentioned that you might not be able to get a deal on a flight, but if someone wants to book now, can they still find deals for this summer to their destinations?
Depends on whether you want to go.
Okay. If
you're saying, hey, I have to go to a beach in Hawaii, well, good luck. You can probably get there, but you're not going to find a deal by any means. The big places are full. Mm-hmm. So if you really want a deal, if that's your focus, then you're going to look at some out-of-the-way place, maybe use a travel agent who can find that for you.
And so it's not just the planes that are super packed. I think the last, 10, 12 flights I've been on, there are no empty seats.
Right.
And so it's also the resorts.
It's the resorts, the hotels, the beaches, the theme parks.
Are those prices up as well? And we're not, we've been talking about airfares, but cost of, hotel, all-inclusives, whatever?
Yeah, they are way up. And theme parks are ridiculously up. Some of them 25, 30, 40% more than last year. They're trying to make it up, is what they're really doing, in all honesty.
Making up for the lack
losses of business previously, yes.
From the last 2 or 3 years. Okay. Is there anything big happening right now that travelers should be concerned about?
No, not really. Just understand what you can control and what you can manage. The planes are full, as you said. There's nothing you can do about that.
Book early.
Book early. I like booking the first flight in the morning. Even the ones out of here that are 5:30 in the morning. It's like, okay, where's that sunshine? We're not going to see it until you're way up in the air. But if there's a problem, hey, you have more flights in the day. You wait to book that last flight.
It's no-go.
It's the last flight, and if it's a no-go, what are you going to do?
Plus, it seems like with the Boise airport too, a lot of the flights are they go back and forth, and so usually on that first flight in the morning, your plane's going to be there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a beauty, and for most of the airlines, you can go onto the website and it'll say, where's my plane coming from? Where's the plane now? And you'll know that, right, from out of here, if you're going to fly to San Francisco, that plane probably came from San Francisco the night before.
Yeah.
And it's on the ground.
So are there some places that you recommend that people could go affordably, if I could say it, whether it's this year or planning for the future? Is it better at this point maybe to, this year take a smaller trip, and then if you're planning something big, to look way ahead?
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, you can get to places this year. If you're dead set on wanting to go to Paris, you can still go to Paris, okay? But understand that flights are full, the hotels are full, Champs-Élysées is jam-packed, but you can get there. But you're right, plan a smaller one this year. Whether it's in the mountains here, beautiful mountains,
oh, yes.
The Oregon coast, anywhere you want to go, start planning for 24 and 25. People, I already have a trip booked for 24. The diehard travelers, and I'll put myself in that category, they're booking for 24 and 25 already.
How far out can somebody actually book a trip?
Maybe 2 years. Some of the cruise lines are already offering their 2025 itineraries, their world cruises, their 135-day cruises. A little long for me. My daughter says 3 months is the most I can be gone.
135 days on a boat.
Yeah.
With a lot of people. I don't know.
With a lot of people that you don't know.
Exactly. You get to know them by the end of 135 days.
Definitely.
All right. Yeah, Stuart, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, some tips for planning and enjoying your travels.
Join us on Idaho Today, Thursdays at 12:30 for HealthLink Idaho, a segment featuring educational topics on how to keep you and your family safe and healthy. HealthLink Idaho, Thursdays on Idaho Today, sponsored by the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare.
Thanks to Les Schwab Tires, I'm a confident backseat driver, but Mom's a little stressed about spending. Remember, breathe in. Now watch your speed and breathe out. Good. Even though we're watching our wallets, Les Schwab is still watching out for our safety. So turn here.
Help keep drivers and backseat drivers safe with Les Schwab Tires.
Come join our family at Garden Plaza of Valley View, where our community takes care of all the details.
There's plenty of activities.
I like the walking. We have a wonderful walking route around here.
It's like coming home.
I love the landscaping. It is beautiful, very spacious.
As my grandson said, Grandma, you live in a swanky hotel.
Come discover a better way to live at Garden Plaza of Valley View. Call or visit us online to learn more.
Has your cable TV lost its spark? Do you suffer from the buffer? You deserve reliable TV without the hassle and the frustration. A+ Satellite is your Dish premier local retailer, serving the Treasure Valley with reliable TV and real customer service for over 15 years. If you have Sparklight TV, switching to Dish with A+ Satellite could save you 40% per year. Stop in for a face-to-face with A+ Satellite at Fairview and Eagle, behind Krispy Kreme.
At California Closets, we see room for opportunity around every corner. Together, we'll discover hidden potential in unexpected places. Professional design and installation. That's practical magic. Request a free design consultation.
And welcome back to Viewpoint. Today we're focusing on the summer travel season, but now we're going to look at some tips to make your travels a little easier and perhaps safer. My guest is travel writer and speaker Stuart Gustafson. Stuart, thank you again for being here today. We kind of touched on it, but how far out is the best time to book a trip?
I would book at least a year out. Do that planning, because that's when the hotels, the resorts, the cruise ships still have decent availability. And so, you can do your planning and then feel comfortable the rest of the year. You've got that done. I would do at least a year.
And then if you're just, needing to catch a flight somewhere, how much time should people give themselves? Maybe it's not a vacation, but, they know they're going to need to be in Pittsburgh in 2 months. How far out should they book?
Today.
Yeah.
Book it while you can. I mean, you don't know when the planes are going to fill up. The thing to really watch about too is there something special going on? So I mentioned Paris a lot because I love Paris. Well, right now you've got the French Open going on at Roland Garros, and so travel in and out of there is crazy, just like it was to London early last month for the coronation. So understand what else is going on at that time. But book it, if you know you want to, you have to, you're going to, book it.
Book it, okay. Should people buy that trip insurance?
So there's different things. If there is trip insurance, then there's that travel protection that the airlines want to sell you.
Okay.
That's not really insurance. I'm not a licensed insurance agent, so we're legally not allowed to talk about a lot of it, but that's really just making sure that the plane goes, you get on the plane and go. There is trip insurance you can buy for, going somewhere for accidents, things like that. But
yeah.
the airline one, it's not that expensive.
Yeah, and also, if you don't buy economy, or budget economy, usually, paying a little bit more, at least you can get a refundable ticket.
Right.
Or know that you won't lose it, you can switch the flight.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely. You either get the refund or you get a voucher or you get a credit that you can still use. Right.
Do you have any tips on picking airline seats?
Yes. So I stick with one main airline here out of Boise because the company I work for used it. So that's where I have all my status. So I know those planes. But there is a website that I love. It's called seatguru.com. And you put in your flight number, the date you're flying, and it pulls up the seat map and it says, ooh, you don't want this seat because it doesn't have a window, or here are the best seats to get. So And it depends.
Of course, the availability too.
Well, availability is kind of important, but it's also, some people love aisle seats. I'm an aisle seat person.
Me too.
Some people like window seats because they're just going to sleep no matter whether it's an hour flight or a 10-hour flight. So what do you like?
Yeah.
No one likes that middle seat.
There are always those available seats that are for $17 to $47 more.
Or 233, yeah.
Yeah, and get your 2 extra inches of leg room.
Right.
Right. Well, so, how can people save money on fees?
To save money on fees, you really have to
carry on.
Yeah, you want to carry on your luggage. You want to pack light. Take a carry-on. I have not checked a large bag in I don't know how many years.
So is it possible then to pack for a 7 to 10 day trip with just a carry-on and a backpack?
It is, unless you are planning to go to the Swiss Alps and and skiing, right? But if you're, summertime, even if you're not going to the beach, you can do it. You don't need a lot of clothes, And you could, by the way, clothes do wash. You can wash them. Most resorts have laundry facilities.
Yeah.
Even a 10-day cruise, there's laundry facilities on most of those. So
still have to take a tuxedo on cruises these days?
No. Most of them have gotten rid of formal nights. I've never worn a tuxedo in my life. When my son was getting married, I was getting a little concerned. Like, okay, no tuxedos.
That was good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like you said, you can wash it. You can also, if you're like, oh, I need this,
you can buy it.
And other countries have stores too, right?
I found that they have clothing stores. You can buy toothpaste. You can buy those things the other places.
Now, okay, it's kind of out there, I guess, but when traveling, especially in foreign countries, do people actually need to be concerned about pickpockets?
They do. I was pickpocketed because I was careless. I was wearing jeans and my wallet was pretty available. Now I got it back, but there are clothes that I now wear when I travel that have zippered pockets. Some look like cargo pants, so those are pretty obvious. But then there's a nice brand that I wear. In fact, I got a pair of their dress slacks. It took me 5 minutes to find the zippers. They're so well hidden.
Yeah, you can't just do a bump and run pickpocket.
No, it's there. And it's safe. And even if you don't have them, what I would say for men, put your wallet in your front pocket.
Yeah.
Ladies, carry your purse in front of you with one hand on it.
Yeah.
Because they are, especially in Europe. I hate to pick on Europe because I love it, but at the train stations, that's really where your guard is down.
Okay.
And they're after you.
The train stations.
Train
is
stations.
the place to watch out for. Okay. As you're traveling, is there anything that you would advise people to do to protect themselves from other things than that? Like, checking with the consulate or, how do you plan for stuff?
There's the Department of State has a website where you can do all those things. I've never checked in with a consulate. I think that's old school. It doesn't hurt to do it. But the Department of State has a program called STEP. Safe Traveler Enrollment Program, something like that, where you put in where you're going to be, when you're going to be there, and they'll let you know, hey, there's a problem, or we'll warn you, or if you have a problem, they can warn relatives. They can tell relatives.
Hey, we only have a few seconds left, but I did want to mention you are the author of 15 books, many nonfiction mysteries based on your travels.
Right.
How did that come about, and what do you focus on?
I love to write about where I travel to Mexico, to Australia, cruise ships, to Paris. And right now the series has a math professor who does all the solving.
Oh, so you've got a recurring character?
A recurring character.
And we're seeing something like Murder in Sydney, Murder in Mexico, I think.
Missing in
Mexico,
yeah.
And then the disappearances in the Mediterranean. So do you do like the research on these places?
Oh, I do that,
and
yeah.
And then, build a story around it?
Right, yeah.
And how can people find your books?
My website, stuartgustafson.com, and they're available in all e-formats too. It doesn't matter what e-reader you have, you can get it.
So you mentioned, going on longer cruises and things like that. I guess that gives you some time to write.
Plenty of time to write. I've got a series coming out next year on travel.
All right. Stuart, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Doug.
I really do appreciate it. A lot of good information today. I know that people are itching to get out and about, whether it's 50 miles from home or 5,000 miles.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Well, still ahead on Viewpoint, when we bring you the news, it usually goes pretty smoothly and may seem pretty calm when you're watching at home, but that is not always the case. Next, we'll pull back the curtain and take you behind the scenes at KTVB.
Vinyl windows seem to be a typical choice here in the local area. Some companies even advertise high-quality vinyl. Ann Romer here. Before you invest in vinyl windows, listen to what Michael Smith of Renewal by Anderson has to say.
With our temperature swings, vinyl tends to warp, which causes condensation between the panes and drafts. And most vinyl windows just look very low end to begin with. Our customers don't want that.
And what are Renewal by Anderson's windows made of?
Our windows are made out of a thermopolymer composite material called Fibrex. It's beautiful like wood, but it doesn't require the maintenance of wood, and we engineered it to be 2 times stronger than vinyl. So you're getting a window that will really last.
Now this is innovation. You have a feature on your windows that allows for a better view.
Our TrueScene screens are made out of an ultra-fine stainless steel mesh, which is virtually invisible. You get less dirt buildup, more fresh air circulation, and a better view out of your windows.
Now, if we're talking about comfort, how much does the glass matter?
The glass in a window makes a huge difference. Our high-performance Low E4 Smart Sun glass is infused with silver oxide. It's engineered to help keep the cold air outside in the winter and keep the warm air outside in the summer. It also blocks 95% of the harmful UV rays that fade your furniture and your hardwood floors.
Well, that's impressive, Michael. Thank you. And right now, Renewal by Anderson has a great offer for homeowners.
Before June 30th, buy one window or patio door and get the next one 40% off. That's 40% off. And our financing can help make this project more affordable with no money down, no payments, and no interest for 1 year. This offer ends June 30th. For a free appointment with Renewal by Anderson, scan the code or call 208-427-8900. That's 208-427-8900.
This year, we at KTVB are celebrating our 70th anniversary as Idaho's very first television station. While the anchors, reporters, and meteorologists are the ones you see bringing you the news, weather, and sports every day, so much goes on behind the scenes that you don't see. We're going to show that to you. And now, magically, you're going to see me in a different suit in a different place. For most viewers, it's here in the KTVB studio where the news comes first. But actually, it all starts just around the corner from here in the newsroom. It's here in the newsroom, and no, this is not a backdrop. This is our actual newsroom, and just about every story starts here. And it starts every morning at exactly 9:37.
Okay, let's meet.
A tradition started by KTVB's first general manager, Bob Kruger. All meetings, parties, any KTVB function starts on the 7s. For a while, we even did weather on the 7s.
Any announcements before we get started?
Reporters, anchors, producers, editors, everyone gets together to go over what's happening that day and to pitch stories.
So I filed a public records request yesterday to get all of the applicants between December and April.
If you didn't know, and Gary and I have looked at this, the state of Idaho public record has everyone's salary. And we were doing this yesterday as a 208. And it looked like there was someone that was being paid $4.6 million. So it drew a major red flag.
It's an extremely pressure-driven, deadline-driven environment. Everybody is on deadline, everybody. And different deadlines too, because there's different newscasts. People are running in and running out, and it's noisy, there's a scanner going. People scrambling to make broadcast time every day, all day long. It's just a totally different environment than what most people work in.
But the newsroom hasn't always been so vibrant.
Tom Brokaw called it disgraceful.
Yep, that Tom Brokaw. It was drab, industrial, even austere.
Tom came in 1988 and took a tour of our newsroom, and it was a pretty lousy place to work. So when I was first hired, one of my assignments was to remodel the newsroom.
Which he did. And it's undergone several remodels since KTVB moved into its current building in 1971.
5 minutes the update. 5 minutes the update.
Even the famous NBC chimes make their appearance multiple times a day. But not everyone is here to hear them. That's because they are working out in the field.
I'm Allison Uten at the Kennedy Space Center with a special presentation. You go out with a photographer and you would shoot your stories.
And depending on the decade, those stories were shot on different recording devices. Film, 3/4-inch tape, beta tape, VHS tape, and these days they're shot on a digital SD card.
When I arrived here in '75, it was before portable videotape, so we were all shooting film. So you go out with your sound cameras and shoot your story, then you have to come back, put it in the film processor, which was always a gamble. Get it out of the processor and then physically edit, splice the film together. And then this was all assembled on the air live. I mean, when it came time for your story, they're running this film chain, they're running the B-roll, they're putting the super slide up, everything comes together live on the air, if you're lucky. And we weren't always lucky.
As the decades went on, editing became more mobile.
Depending how far away the story is, oftentimes I would have a playback machine on my lap in the car with headphones on. And then again, depending on how long the drive was, I might start scribing the actual story.
From start to finish, most stories turn day of, giving reporters a few hours to turn this.
We reached out and we asked Transparent Idaho and the state controller, is somebody making $4.6 million?
Into this.
Whitney Esquena Bolt, a project manager with the Department of Correction, is making more than $4 million a year? Well, no, because
behind the camera and in the control room, things are a little more chaotic.
2, 1, roll A. Mike music, Mike Bree. Okay, out to a hot shot and C is next. Opens up.
You hope for the best and make adjustments on the fly for when things don't go as planned. Because if we're being honest,
no package, no package.
They rarely do.
Go on cam. Or
we're on cam, we're holding.
How do we get the prompter?
Hold on.
There were times when the prompter would go down like every other show.
I'm going to drop 4 and then I'll move it to the cut-in.
But you had to be prepared for it. You had a plan A and a plan B, and if you had to go to plan C, that might be, let's go to commercial break.
Mike Doug.
But the show must go on because the news comes first.
Stand by 4. Turn. Take 4 up. Stand by A.
5.
4. 3, 2, 1, out.
And I can assure you that today, actually, everything went very smoothly here on Viewpoint. And we'll have more 70th anniversary stories for you this spring and summer leading up to the actual anniversary date of our 70 years on air on July 12th. That is all of our time for this week's Viewpoint. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Doug Petcash. I'll see you tonight on the Sunday News at 5 and 10, and right back here next time for another Viewpoint.